Well, here we go again. That's a great title for my video. And of course, we're going to be reacting to Star Wars Theory's latest video because this story just will not go away, which is exactly what we predicted when it all happened. The coordinated hate campaign against many YouTubers, including myself, all for having an opinion that other people on YouTube did not agree with, which those YouTubers did violate terms of service. No, I do not think that their channels should be taken down, even though they are actively violating terms of service, but I do wish they would stop targeting us and our channels with obvious lies. But that is not stopping, apparently. Star Wars Theory now has this video where he's talking about what's going on with Forbes, and I did cover a little bit of that, but it has continued to escalate, so we're going to react to Star Wars Theory's video over on his channel. And I think I'll turn it, because this is a 30-minute video, so I think I'm going to turn this up to 1.5. All right, I got it there. And let's jump into it. Here's Star Wars Theory's video. So here we go. Well, hang on. Okay, well, let me slow this down in the beginning because that is probably not going to work very well when he's got text right there. So here we go. Okay, start the video. Music's good. Victim card, as always, and it's our fault, apparently. Yes, they ask us to denounce this, but they want us to control millions of people, yet they are silent when it happens to us. Seems that they encourage it with their harassment. And he's just playing their nonsense against them, which is what I do all the time. Anybody that's watched my channel knows that I do not support the targeted harassment of any actor simply because they played, a role that I might not like. I've never, ever advocated for that. You can't find me saying that because I don't do it. Now, do I have opinions on people when they give like social or political or they attack the fans? Of course, I'll give my opinion on that. But even still, I don't think that there should be any coordinated hate against someone, targeting them or anything like that. You simply just talk about what they are doing and giving your opinion on that. That's all I've ever done. But they wanted to say that we had some hate campaign against Kelly Marie Tran. We'll get into that a little bit later if it comes up in this video. I'm sure it will at some point in time. So here we go. This video exposes his lies, bad faith journalism, and slanderous remarks. All right, I'm ready.
Saw someone say, "Is this your Sith era theory?" And I'm like, when did it become okay to constantly berate someone for years, and then if you answer back, that's your Sith era? No, that's just standing up for yourself or replying. That's literally all it is. If you're provoked, I think it's fair game to be able to say your piece back. So anyways, that's what I did in the recent video. Essentially just talking about Clone Wars returning in live action, which I think would be pretty dope. But of course, this guy, the Forbes guy, Paul Tassi.
Clone Wars. Why don't any of these Disney Star Wars fans that are constantly saying that I hate everything Disney Star Wars, why don't they ever bring up the fact that I love the Clone Wars, including Season 7? Specifically those final 4 episodes. Yes, I had criticisms of some of Season 7 for sure, but the final 4 episodes of Season 7 Clone Wars is some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen. And by the way, sometimes among my audience, that's not usually the most popular thing to say. And guess what? That's how things are on the internet. You give your opinions. Some people agree with them. Some people disagree with them. And you continue to move on and go about your day because That's how things are in fandom. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. Fandom has never been this thing where everybody agrees and everybody just stands around holding hands and singing songs together. That's never been fandom. It's never going to be fandom. And I don't know what fantasy world these weirdos are living in, but they don't want to talk about the fact that I'm a fan of the Clone Wars. I wonder why they don't mention that.
So he goes ahead and makes another tweet. You use incognito mode for porn. I use it to check on channels that make videos about me that I do not want in my algorithm. Well, thanks anyways for the view, man. And his comments are just, well, they speak for themselves. Anyways, that video was an opener to the real video, which I'm glad you're now all familiar with him. So this is, I would say, part of the problem. I would say essentially this is kind of where all of this rhetoric leads to when it comes to trying to deplatform people, which is a scumbag move anyways, a weak move from Molly and Alex and everyone else that was part of that. But this kind of journalism is really what is setting the narrative for the weak-minded people who just kind of follow the sheep. And I believe that it's just not helpful. I think there's a lot of gatekeeping in this kind of journalism, which we're going to get into right here. And it just needs to stop, I think. I think we need to have better writers or people who have maybe more of an open mind or aren't so set to just one sect of a certain fandom and are able to see things from maybe a little bit more of a logical and reasonable perspective that maybe some people just don't like things because it's not true to Star Wars in their opinion. It doesn't make them wrong. It just means that they have a certain outlook of something. So in September...
Well, I don't even know if I would... Yes, there's a lot. There are a lot of people that dislike the Acolyte because it's not true to Star Wars. But I would think the majority of people don't like the Acolyte because it's just bad. It's bad, regardless if it's Star Wars bad or if it's just bad. It's bad. It goes beyond just being bad Star Wars. It is a horrible show. It really is a bad show. Again, it doesn't mean you can't like it. It's okay to like it. X-Men Origins Wolverine, okay? I like that movie. Most people hate that movie, okay? Most people can't stand that movie. For crying out loud, I like the Jean-Claude Van Damme Street Fighter movie that was based on a video game. So they made a movie of a video, like, I can't even get into the, like, mental gymnastics of what they did. The bottom line was, okay, like, and then they made a video game of the movie that was based on the video game. It's just crazy. I love that. And I love the video game that was based on the movie, based on the video game. Anyway, a lot of people don't like that movie. Does that mean that they're wrong? Does that mean that they're racist because they don't like a movie I like? No. It means that I have a very unpopular opinion and I'm comfortable enough in my own skin to be okay with that. It's crazy. It's crazy how sensitive these people are.
November 9th, Paul Tassi released an article called "The Acolyte Has Caused Star Wars Fandom to Plunge into Civil War," which, yeah, I think that's kind of accurate in a sense. However, he goes on to mention me and several other YouTubers as well, and he really writes in his article that I and many others should be deplatformed and demonetized because of our rhetoric, because of our point of view of Star Wars.
I will say I don't necessarily agree that Star Wars fandom is in a civil war. I feel like Star Wars fandom is more unified than it has been in a long time. All because of the Acolyte. I mean, look, you've got Star Wars Theory and Stupendous Wave doing a podcast together now, and they're the two biggest Star Wars creators there are on this platform. And the amount of support that we've received after all the stuff that's happened has been wild. So I think I understand the point he's making, but yeah, I think that Star Wars fandom is more united than it's probably been in a long time.
In general. So anyways, let's go ahead and check this out and read this because I want to bring light to this. I don't think this is acceptable behavior. I don't think, for a publication such as Forbes, I don't think this is respectful. I don't think it's insightful, and I think it's malicious. You think the drama of The Acolyte is over? Think again. As now what has been arguments about content of the show has progressed into a full-on civil war in the Star Wars fandom community. The two parties are fans that appreciate shows like The Acolyte and did not appreciate what seemed to be a coordinated, relentless assault on the show and its actors by YouTubers and their subscribers. So where's the evidence that these are coming from YouTube, from the subscribers? Where's the evidence that all of these subscribers are sending attacks to the actors or the actresses or the writers? Where is that information? I need that intel.
It ain't out there, and Theory knows that. He's asking a rhetorical question, but it's not out there because none of us have done that. None of us have done that. Not one single person. I have said more times than I can count. Just said it in this fucking video. It's okay to like the fucking show. You can like it. Nobody can take that away from you. You can like it. I like Adam Sandler movies, for crying out loud, okay? Everybody hates those, generally speaking. Maybe it's a generational thing. Some of my friends like Adam Sandler movies. Not all of them. Jack and Jill is terrible. But I like most Adam Sandler movies, and I think anyone could look at those and go, these are really bad movies, but damn if they're not fun. Damn if they're not a blast. And it's okay. It's no one has said you can't like it. We've said that it's a bad show because it's a bad show.
Attempting to demonetize many of those accounts which they believe are racist or encourage targeted harassment campaigns. The other side says they simply hate the show for normal reasons. The saga of The Acolyte is well known at this point. The show was little watched, but developed core base fans who really liked it, ranging from its representation, a black lead and an Asian heartthrob as its villain, to its storyline. I don't think anybody really gave a shit about the storyline. I think most people just cared about the fact that there was representation in this.
Yes.
And I think that's what people are really gleaning off of to essentially say, if you didn't like this, since they liked it for that primary reason, then of course everyone has to have liked it for that reason too. And if they didn't, then they're going against that representation and therefore they're racist. So I would even argue that the people who are saying such things are only seeing the depth of this show or only showing interest in the show because there is representation. I would argue that none of the people who are so in love with the show would love it just as much as if everybody was white. I guarantee you, the people who love the show, I do not think they would like it as much or nearly at all if all of the cast members were white. And to me, I say, I don't care if they're purple. I don't care what color they are. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Black, gay, straight, trans. You do what you want, man. Just make a cool story, cool characters, and that's it. Well written, thoughtful. I couldn't care less about what they do outside of that. Split from the Skywalker saga, but several hundred years ago. The YouTubers in question devoted dozens, if not hundreds, of videos dedicated to tearing down the show and everyone associated with it each and every week, which led to not just pushback from Acolyte fans, but stars like Amanda Stenberg publicly talking about the racism she experienced. And look, like I've said this a million times, there are so many people that are for sure assholes and racists and bigots and homophobic and all that, but I feel like that's a very small minority. And to take a magnifying glass and just enlarge it and blow it up as if it's the majority of people, I think that's really irresponsible to do, especially as a journalist. I think if we're...
Yes, and they've been doing this for a long time. They've been taking, they'll take a comment here and a comment there, and they'll try to tie that comment to, they'll try to do this multiple jumps of oh, well, if you connect this comment to this, and if you connect the comment to that, it ties back to this person who's got this much of a following. It's that's not how this works. If I've said something that you think is horrible, please ask me about that so I can either answer for it, give for more clarity, or explain exactly why you have misinterpreted what I said. I have no problem answering for the things that I have said and the statements that I have made.
We're going to really look at something from a objective point of view. We have to really see it for what it is. Okay, there are shitty people everywhere, all over the world. Okay, you run into them every day. I run into them every day. There's also very nice people all over the world. Am I to say that just because one person I met is shitty or two people out of the 100 I meet in a day are shitty, then therefore all of them are shitty? No, that's just the select few. That's how life works. You can't fix the world, unfortunately. Now, Amanda Stenberg took that minority who were racist and jerks and essentially said the entire fandom who does not like the Acolyte is alt-right, racist, bigots. I mean, that to me that's also extremely irresponsible, especially in her position. And she is representing Lucasfilm, and she is representing Leslie Headland and everybody else that she worked with. Nobody's saying a damn thing. If anything, they're saying, you go, girl.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
What is this? And so we have these articles from a massive publication, Forbes, also touting the same kind of bullshit. I think this is seriously a massive red flag. It's a form of brainwashing in a sense where if people don't understand or don't see it, they're like, oh no, these people are racist. My God, it couldn't be further from the truth. Racist people are racist, but that's not the majority of everybody. For example, I don't want to make it about me, but the death threats and stuff that were thrown at me that you guys saw on Twitter, on X, horrible things that were said that I even showed in some videos, that all comes from that side of the fandom who loved the Acolyte. Am I therefore to say that everyone that loves the Acolyte is a disgusting piece of shit who wants to wish me death in the most gruesome, horrible, weird, psycho ways? No, those are just a few bad apples that are psychotic. That happens. That's the internet. That's life. That's people. Then the show was canceled. Given that Disney is, Disney, the decision likely came down to mainly an absurdly high cost, which was very much Disney's fault, and low viewership. Though many, including, it had nothing to do with the high cost. They'll pay up the nose for anything that they want, as long as it gets the views, as long as it gets the money. And that's really at the end of the day all it is. So,
the high cost had nothing to do with it. It's the lack of people that were interested. You have Star Wars. You have the biggest IP in the world. You have the biggest fan base in the world. So you were going to say, hey, we have this big of a fan base. We've got a track record of shows that we have produced. This is the type of budget that we think belongs on this based on the amount of people that we believe are going to be interested in it. And ultimately, none of those people were interested, generally speaking, and that is why it was canceled. It was canceled because the target demographic, Star Wars fans, were not interested. That's simple. That's it.
this thing could have cost freaking $100 million, it still wouldn't have been enough for them to renew it for a second season. And low viewership, though many, including some of the cast, credited the racism and harassment and felt it gave a win to toxic parts of the fandom. Now we enter the current phase, which went, members of the Star Wars community in support of shows like The Acolyte and its actors banded together to create a movement to try and get a number of specific Star Wars channels demonetized with examples of what they believe was racism and harassment in their videos, which should be against YouTube's terms of service. Well, clearly it wasn't, since YouTube said that this does not go against terms of service.
Yeah. Why didn't they bring up, because they did say that in either 18 or 19, they specifically said that Geeks and Gamers put a harassment campaign out against Vietnamese actress Kelly Marie Tran. That was their exact words. Okay? They didn't show you any examples. They took some quotes and they spun those quotes and they lied about those quotes. But even those quotes, they said, were directed towards the character of Rose Tico, not the actress Kelly Marie Tran. So, of course, I have shown multiple instances where I've talked about Kelly Marie Tran, and you can't find me saying anything horrible about her because I have said consistently she seems like an extremely sweet person, and every video I've ever seen, she has a bubbly interview, and I think that Rian Johnson did her wrong in how they didn't take full advantage of her bubbly personality, and that is a damn shame. The Rose Tico character sucks. Roll the clip.
Rose Tico is a bad character. Rose Tico is an objectively bad character. Rose Tico is one of the worst characters in the history of Star Wars. That doesn't mean anything negative towards Kelly Marie Tran. I think Kelly Marie Tran is great. I think she's a very sweet person. And I think she deserves far better. Rose Tico didn't deserve better, but Kelly Marie Tran definitely.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There's the clip one more time, okay? For the, 10th time in the past 2 weeks I've had to show that clip and other clips where I have commented on her. But these people don't want to talk about that. They want to lie and they want to manipulate and they want to twist things.
However, once YouTube itself was tagged, the concept was met with an immediate reply 13 minutes later from YouTube that they reviewed the video in question and found that it was not in violation and no action would be taken. This was celebrated immediately by the targeted.
Whoa. However, once YouTube itself was tagged, the concept was met with an immediate reply 13 minutes later that they reviewed the video in question and found that it was not in violation and no action taken. That is not true. That is not true. It took like a day because I remember that. So it was right after Daily ended, which was, so the first day that we were made aware of this, I wasn't going to address it. And then Molly Damon tag team YouTube, and that's when I decided, okay, I already knew about it, but now that she's addressed it, huge Star Wars creator, I have to address this because these are lies. So I addressed it. The following day, after Daily ends, Geeks and Gamers Daily, 24 hours later, then we got the news that Team YouTube responded. So it was well over, it's like 20, probably like 24, 26, something like that hours after the fact. This is a lie.
YouTubers in question, though further investigation reveals that it is a pretty generic YouTube auto message, which has been used hundreds of times before, and there's no evidence that YouTube took the quite elaborate movement seriously for more than a few minutes, or did anything resembling investigation. What? So this also is incorrect. So what he does, what Paul Tassi does, is he looks at the reply which was sent a day after this was actually created. So this was actually created and sent on September 4th, which took YouTube an entire day to check out the claims, and then they replied on the 5th, and they said, thanks for reaching out, just heard back and confirmed that this content is not violative and will remain up. We totally understand you may not agree with this decision, but we reviewed this video very carefully against our policies. They replied the day before this, and they said, we're going to check it out. Could you please send a link of all of the videos in question or the channels in question? And Molly Damon, sweet old Molly, went to YouTube's aid and made sure that she freaking tried to rat every single person out on that list. And I bet you I was in that freaking link too, to take away our livelihoods. And I sound like a broken record, but man, you don't understand. Imagine you work so freaking hard and someone just wants to take that away from you.
Bro, being a content creator, the single, I've said this many times, but I'm going to keep saying it. The worst thing you can do is try to deplatform your fellow content creators because you disagree with them. It's the worst thing you can do. And I've never seen people that have been busted doing it. I've never seen them recover from it. Never seen it. It is the, if you ever want to become a YouTuber, independent content creator, something like that, never false flag people that you disagree with or don't like or that criticize you. Don't ever do it. There is there's rare exceptions to that rule, like obviously doxing someone, literally threatening someone or threatening their family, but like not because they disagree with you on a fucking Star Wars show. It's the worst thing you can do. You don't recover from this stuff.
Because of wrongthink, because you don't agree with them on a freaking show. So Paul Tassi right there, journalist, writer for Forbes, is writing misinformation, trying to say that
100%.
this is an automated response within a few minutes. Incorrect. It's a response a few minutes, one full day after having checked everything out.
Yes.
Two, hey, Team YouTube, Star Wars community would at least appreciate a formal... I love how they call themselves a Star Wars community. It's like, yeah, only you guys that like the Acolyte are the Star Wars community. Everybody else who's been supporting it and literally got it to the point where it's worth $4 billion for George to sell, they're just a bunch of losers, grifters, racists. They don't actually give a shit about Star Wars. Come on, use this thing if you got it. Though further investigation reveals that this is a pretty generic YouTube auto message, which has been used hundreds of... That's just because that'll help you sleep at night, right?
That's insane.
What's bothering you?
That's insane.
And there's no evidence that YouTube took the quite elaborate movement seriously for more than a few minutes. They spent a full day, and then they got back to you and said that there's nothing that violates terms of service.
Yes.
More do you want? Why are you lying? Why are you always lying? Or did anything resembling investigation? How do you know? What are you, Team YouTube? Why don't you just tweet yourself, bro? It was likely just a bot scraping a video, and what video that even was isn't clear. Why are you making stuff up, bro? Just take the L, move on, write your other articles for Forbes, and you're just making their company look more and more shitty. But hey, you're giving me something to talk about, so that's great. Thanks, pal. Maybe it's time I now turn the tide. That level of abruptness and lack of diligence is not very surprising. This guy's still going on his own lie. Bro, they took over a day. Get over it. Move on. It's okay, Sally. Since this happened, fans have now pointed towards people moving on to comment on a black actor's Instagram that they want the Acolyte treatment, viewing that as a threat to mount a similar movement. One random Johnny Root underscore stands for everybody. These people, man, just like desperate. Like, this is your facts? This is your evidence? One random dude on the internet sends a message? What the fuck, bro? The YouTuber side of this escalated thanks to Star Wars Theory, the largest... Well, thanks, Paul. You're welcome. You're welcome, Paul. The largest Star Wars fan channel on the internet who has been the frequent centerpiece of what is viewed as the toxic part of the fandom. Really? Please tell me what it is I do that's so
What?
toxic. Because I just call out what I think.
Bro, they are grasping now. Like the amount of shit that they're making up. This is easily provable stuff. Like you can prove that this stuff is lies and none of it. Oh my gosh. All I really care about like is YouTube okay with what we're doing? And if they want us to change, they obviously just tell me. But up to this point, I've been on this platform for years now. And I have kind of studied what they deem as acceptable, not acceptable, and I am more than confident that I've stayed within the terms of service that they have laid out there. And I am more than confident that the people that are false flagging us and a coordinated hate campaign, I'm more than confident that those people are violating terms of service 100%. This is insane. This is absolutely insane.
Isn't really akin to what George would have done, and that's it. So if that's toxic, then I guess you want everyone to have a gag order unless it aligns with your beliefs, and that, I think, is far beyond toxic. That's a totalitarian regime. That's a dictatorship. Theory also constantly bashed the Acolyte with the usual "it's the bad writing and breaks canon" claims. Well, yeah, it did. Please tell me how it didn't. Please tell me how the Acolyte was good writing and it didn't break canon. I'd love for you to explain this in your next Forbes article. I'll be waiting. Though it's a long pattern of him moving on from focused Star Wars lore discussion to lambasting much of what Disney has produced. We see when you grow up with something that you really love and you see it being torn to shreds by people who don't understand it, and then if you don't like it, being called racist, and then having your entire livelihood potentially taken away from you because you don't like what they've done to something so sacred to you, I guess that is what I'm doing. Yeah, it's quite a long pattern. I think speaking about how it breaks lore, I mean, you're kind of contradicting yourself. You're talking about how I'm talking about how it's bad writing for Star Wars, which I explained, and it breaks canon. How is that moving on from focused Star Wars lore discussion? Theory went off on social media saying that things had crossed the line by trying to get these channels demonetized, including mine. But let's not forget, Alex and Molly have been trying to use other people as an icebreaker, as a scapegoat to get to me for years. And so it's no surprise why they would write such a freaking thing to
Right here, yours truly, they used me.
monetize and deplatform people, then to have me lumped in the same freaking letter, which goes after people's livelihoods. He just released a video calling out another channel, Star Wars Explained, who had signed on to the demonetization. He just released a video calling out another channel, Star Wars Explained, who calling out, bro, I literally just put the mirror up to their face after they were berating me for 8 years and being jealous and just envious and rude and shit-talking me behind my back to so many people for so many years simply because I did well on YouTube. The receipts are all there. That's not calling anyone out. That's just saying, I've had enough. Leave me alone. And that's all this is. The more you keep coming for me, the more I'm just going to expose you and destroy you. It's just how it works now. I've had enough. Star Wars Explained, who had signed on to the demonetization movement, a video which got extremely personal, reviewing his private communications with the channel's owner in the past. Yeah, bro's acting like I revealed some top secret level information. The guy was trying to get my information. The guy was trying to understand a channel that was out for 2 months that amassed 50,000 subscribers, could not fathom how his channel, which was around for 4 or 5 something years, was growing so fast, and he was trying to poach me for information and be my friend.
And that's what he was mad about with me, is when my channel had like around 20,000 subscribers. Alex from Star Wars Explained was very jealous because my channel, when he had 400,000 or 500,000 subscribers, he was getting less views than me because I was criticizing Disney Star Wars, and I was getting a lot more views than him, and it really made him mad. That's why he decided to include me in his hate against Star Wars theory. That was how I was introduced to this whole thing, because Alex from Star Wars Explained put me in a video when I had 20,000 subscribers trying to take my channel down because he was very jealous because I was getting more views than him and he was going after theory. That's really what this comes down to, is jealousy and envy. That's it. That's how I got pulled into this whole mess right there. And as I've said, now this channel, I have many channels, but like this channel has over 400,000 subscribers. I'm extremely proud of that. I see channels right now with far less subscribers than mine getting more views than me, and I have no problem with that. Welcome to the internet. Welcome to YouTube. This is how it works.
And when I didn't give him any information, because honestly, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just making Star Wars content I enjoyed. He started to just talk shit about me nonstop. And then he would apologize and talk more shit and then say sorry and then do it again and again and again, to the point where now his wife is trying to deplatform me and throw me under the bus for what? He like full on went after me out of the freaking blue on some topics and videos that I was talking about regarding some stuff in this scenario, the solo posters. Fast forward to this, and now he's apologizing and blah, 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 blah. And you realize it's not just the stuff that I showed. It's over the years, all of the weird little tweets that I would see, they would like, of people just talking ill about me, the Pablo Hidalgo stuff. They were all in on it. They enjoyed that. They were laughing with him. They were liking his tweets. Don't think I didn't see this stuff. I see, I check, I watch. I just didn't say anything until they tried to pull the plug. Here's my take on this whole grand drama, which does not appear to even be over yet. Oh, you bet it's not, man. We're just getting started. The hate for the Acolyte is unlike anything I've seen in Star Wars history.
That's
possibly
bullshit.
even more than The Last Jedi, which is saying something.
Well, okay, hang on. The hate for the Acolyte is unlike anything I've ever seen in Star Wars history. I don't know, man. Like, there's been a lot of hate for, like, Disney Star Wars. Last Jedi was really bad. Like, Last Jedi, on a scale, I would say that it was probably bigger on the scale for Last Jedi, but it's a lot more focused with the Acolyte. It's a lot more focused and universally disliked. The Acolyte has really united people. So while I don't think that it's hit the heights of The Last Jedi, I think it's a lot more centrally focused and a lot more unifying from the fan base's perspective.
I would say so. I think people are really disgusted by it, and I think it's just an absolutely abhorrent story that has no place in Star Wars and has no place before The Phantom Menace and just breaks a ton of lore. I mean, as you said, I've made countless videos about it, so why don't you go watch them? In fact, I bet you have, but just like your lack of data, or rather your manipulation of data with YouTube's response time, you just want to lie and pretend like you don't know. But really, we all know you got that incognito mode open 24/7, and I'm living rent-free on your browser. Well, actually, you're paying me with the views, so thanks. I hope Alex doesn't lose any sleep over that tonight.
Get your ass up!
There absolutely was an industry created on YouTube dismantling the show each and every week. Yeah, it's called reviewing products, reviewing media, reviewing shows and movies. That's, what do you think? We're the first people that have reviewed movies? That's been going on for many, many years. Far before YouTube even existed. People were reviewing movies in magazines. I'm sure Forbes was probably part of that as well. Such as there's an industry for people like you lying and trying to throw people under the bus and paint a picture that is so unbelievably far from the truth. But I guess, hey, when you're a journalist, the truth really doesn't matter. It's more so about clicks and what your narrative can purport to people who don't know any better. Even though this We Hate Disney Star Wars crew has been around for a long while, it did in fact make talking about the Acolyte online with any semblance of positivity practically.
We Hate Disney Star Wars crew. So again, I ask you, let's not even talk about the Clone Wars, since I already talked about that, and specifically Season 7 and how much I love the final 4 episodes, even though a portion of my audience they passionately disagree with me on that, and that's totally fine. Welcome to fandom. I also praised Mandalorian Season 1 and pretty significant parts of Season 2. And a lot of people liked Andor. I watched the first 2 episodes of Andor, and while I thought that it was moving in a really good direction, it was more so just Disney Star Wars in general that I was just like, I couldn't do it. I didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett. I didn't watch Mandalorian season 3. I didn't watch The Bad Batch. And these are things that I could have gotten a ton of views on, but I was so disconnected from Disney Star Wars for many different reasons. One of the big things was the Gina Carano element. I wasn't going to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, but my audience voted for me to watch it, and I thought Obi-Wan Kenobi was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I thought it was so bad, and that hurt me because I love Hayden Christensen, and I wanted to see him and Ewan McGregor return because I'm a prequel guy, because I will defend the prequels. I've always been a prequel defender. So yeah, there's no I hate Disney Star Wars. It's that we hate bad Star Wars, period. Like, especially when it's used for social justice propaganda, which is exactly what Disney Star Wars has been, generally speaking. But I've enjoyed small elements of Disney Star Wars, and when I thought it was good, I said it was good, regardless if it got me any criticism or not. I have to be honest about how I feel. That's why people follow me. It's for my honesty, not because they always agree with everything I say. So that's bullshit. That's a bullshit narrative that you're saying we hate Disney Star Wars crew. We just hate bad stuff in general, and Disney Star Wars, more often than not, has been really fucking bad.
Impossible without being swarmed by what were often devotees of these channels, if not the YouTubers themselves. Where was this rhetoric with The Mandalorian season 1 or season 2? Where was this, for the most part, with Andor? Where was this level of disdain with Ahsoka? I mean, sure, yeah, a lot of people disliked it.
I didn't watch that either.
Close to this
and
level.
I
Where
love
was this
the
with Tales of the
character,
Jedi? So, am I to understand that it's all of the shows, or could it perhaps be subjective? And why would it be subjective? Well, let's think about it. Maybe the shows just aren't as good as the other ones. Maybe it doesn't run along the pre-established lore or cadence that George Lucas created with Star Wars when he made it. Could that possibly be it? Or are we just picking at random here? And it just so happens that the ones we pick at random, because we don't like the shows, actually end up not doing well in terms of views and get canceled. This we hate Disney Star Wars, there's no crew for that. It's a we love Star Wars. We love George Lucas Star Wars. And anything that wants to come in there and change that instead of adding to it, expanding it, respecting it, then yes, we will dislike that, and we're going to talk about it. This whole idea of, in today's world, it's like, oh, it's really ruining the positivity. You don't have to be positive about something if it isn't good. You don't always have to be positive. Toxic positivity is the most annoying thing I have ever experienced, at least one of. Let's say you go to a restaurant and you're eating food and you really don't like it. It's got way too much salt. I dare you not to say anything. Don't be negative. Don't be negative. Enjoy it. Take that freaking salt and let your kidneys filter it through. Enjoy the high blood pressure, man. Don't say anything. You're being negative.
Alex, take your drink. Okay, you okay?
So then we're essentially living in a world where this needs to be shut against any sort of human judgment. You cannot judge anything anymore. Everything has to be perfect. Everything is perfect. And there is no such thing as something not being up to par. You just have to talk about the positive things. I don't believe in that. I believe the best thing in life is to actually look at some of the things that aren't the best and really realize, okay, what can we do to course correct here and make it better? And that's how civilization got better. That's how evolution with cities and technology and everything got better. It's like, well, you know what? I don't like this function. This could be better. That could be better. With everything, that's how things grow and that's how things improve. If everyone was just like, oh, what do you think? Penicillin would be created if people weren't negative? This infection is really horrible. It's killing everybody. But, we should just enjoy life for the most part. And just, what do you like? How far do you want this to go? Do you want, like, we can take this from movie. We can take your analogy from movies.
Oh, the 100%. These clowns want that type of mindset. You're literally not supposed to criticize the billion-dollar company. The billion-dollar company is going to feed you whatever slop they feel like feeding you. And essentially, they want us to become a world with just like the Pixar movie WALL-E. That's what they want. They just want us to be all fat and just glued to a screen, and they just feed us whatever slop that they want to feed us, and we're not supposed to question anything. We're not supposed to do anything. We're just supposed to sit there and just take what is given to us and accept it and not question it and not do anything. That is what they want, 100%.
We can just go something ridiculous like that. Where does it end? You want us to sit there, consume the thing, and be happy and repeat and ask for more. No, some people just don't like that. The Acolyte was almost certainly canceled for an absurdly high budget, reportedly 180 million, and is he repeating himself here? Which third-party estimates have documented as being lower than any other Star Wars series. Yes, still, the cancellation was absolutely celebrated as a win by this YouTube fan crowd, and what they believe is vindication of their hate campaign against the show. It's not vindication against a hate campaign. I love how he says hate campaign. It's being happy that something did not pass when it disrespected the lore and disrespected George Lucas, and just overall was a really convoluted mess of a show. I mean, that's really all it is. It's not that deep, man. It's just a bad show. Shows get canceled all the time. If Amanda Stenberg says she experienced lots of racism before and during the airing of the series, she is not lying. And there are multiple examples of racism against other actors of color in Star Wars, from John Boyega to Moses Ingram. Yeah, and I would say the biggest one was Disney, who shrunk John Boyega down in the Chinese posters.
Where is the racism against John Boyega and Moses Ingram? Where is it at? Where is it at? There's criticism. Well, first of all, most people in my circle, if you go back and look, and this is retroactively because I mean I liked The Force Awakens when I first saw it, and I liked it until I saw The Last Jedi, and then The Last Jedi basically showed you that The Force Awakens was fool's gold. Essentially, it was fool's gold, and so you know you can't. It was so weird because you find out a movie can't stand on its own, and like Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Spider-Man, does not get affected because Spider-Man 3 wasn't that great. It doesn't get affected. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. Spider-Man 3 might not have been great, and it disappointed a lot of people, but it didn't affect Spider-Man 2. A lot of people, not me, because I love The Dark Knight Rises, but a lot of people don't like The Dark Knight Rises. But guess what? That doesn't affect their love for The Dark Knight. The Force Awakens needed the payoff. It needed a payoff with everything that it set up. And the fact that everything that was set up in The Force Awakens completely did not get addressed by The Last Jedi means that you look back on The Force Awakens, you're like, this movie actually was dog shit in a lot of ways. But even beyond all of that, most people in my sphere, they look back and they go, I might not have liked The Force Awakens, but John Boyega had the most potential in that movie. That's what a lot of people say. Not everyone, but a lot of people say John Boyega had the most potential, and he had such a cool arc that he could have went on, and they completely screwed that up. But of course, you're just going to say everybody was racist against John Boyega because you need to use his skin color as a tool in your game of chess versus all of the chuds and not talk about the facts.
Look what they did with Chadwick Boseman, with the Black Panther. I think they just tried to really purport this narrative, and it can be called out so easily and dismantled with facts, because they're all out there. This is not opinion. This is this guy's opinion. And in fact, he's not even getting the facts straight about certain things. He's just misleading stuff. So I think these writers and these publications are just so full of it because there's nothing actually genuine about them. It's very disingenuous. And I'm calling it all out here, one by one. It would be very, very difficult to mount any sort of campaign to prove to a giant corporate blob like YouTube. We're talking about corporate blob, bro. What Forbes is turning into. Forbes used to be a publication that actually meant something, but now they have half-bit writers like you out there spreading misinformation. I mean, just scroll up, man, just to purport your narrative. That's ridiculous. That's not journalism. That's not seeing things from a side of fairness and balance. This is an unbalanced journalist who obviously has some sort of agenda against YouTubers and against people that didn't like what he liked. I guess they're all racist and they need to be deplatformed. Corporate blob like YouTube that the specific Star Wars channels are breaking. You know, the only Star Wars channel he spoke about here was me. Paul, bro, like what's your heart on with me for? Like, you're just freaking obsessed, dude. I guess, you know, maybe this is getting you views. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can make a video on anything and, you know, it'll do fine. So I know that's what you're going to go to. You're getting views off my article. Absolutely, bro. You're calling me out. You started it. What do you want? Fair game, baby. Game's game. Corporate blob like YouTube that specific Star Wars channels are breaking terms of service due to racism or harassment. Again, another lie. Where is that evidence? Please show me the evidence of me being racist or showing harassment or sending harassment to anyone. I would say it's actually what you do to YouTubers. Me. As evidenced by that 13 minutes later auto response. Again, another lie. That
is such an obvious lie. That, again, everything that these clowns say is so easily we can just disprove them with so many things. But yeah, that one right there is just absolutely insane that this dude's supposed to be a journalist and he's running with that lie. Blatant, obvious lie.
Response was done after a day's work of them investigating. So it could have been hours. They fully took a day. Not because it's not true necessarily, but getting anyone other than some keyword searching robot to examine this closely is near impossible. They had actual responses. I mean, look at Molly's responses to YouTube and YouTube's responses to her. And that was clearly a person that checking something out. And they responded to a few of these people that tried to deplatform all of us. And in the end, this was the final response. I mean, I don't know what you want, bro. Sour grapes. And you tried to take people's livelihoods away under the guise of being racist, and you failed. And now you want to say it's a bot response when it's clearly right. The date is right there, bro. They took a full day to actually figure out what you're saying. It's minutes. There's also a fine line between what you can prove to YouTube as overt racism or targeted harassment and people just being awful in general. You're one to talk, which is allowed frequently on the platform. There will likely be nothing to stop this large group of YouTubers and their large audiences. I cannot think of other examples of fandom where a toxic portion has simply been wiped off the map in any meaningful way. Wow, dude. Those karma points are really adding up for you right now, eh? Maybe the worst offenders sometimes, but rarely. It just doesn't really happen. It's more pronounced here because Star Wars is one of the worst manifestations of this, other than, say, MCU haters who spent 100 videos on their channels going after Brie Larson. It may not surprise you that there is a significant overlap in these channels. You cannot rely on Disney to back up its harassed actors like they should, and you cannot rely on YouTube to do anything useful here. They are corporations. They care.
By the way, on this channel, we have someone who's, we have multiple people who, and I know that people think it's a meme. There's multiple people, prominent people at Geeks and Gamers that are fans of Brie Larson. Fans, legitimately. No bullshit.
about money above everything else, and they rarely will ever listen to fans over issues like this. Well, again, it's about the money. And I would argue that if you take money out of the whole equation and views and clout and all that stuff and all that was invisible, would this still matter to them so much? Would they still be talking about money constantly? It's all about money. What does the money have to do with anything, any of the merit that we're actually saying in our videos, at least in my videos? Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Well, you're such a stand-up guy because you don't do anything for money. It's not like you're misinforming people and literally flat out lying and saying that people should lose their jobs because you don't agree with their takes on movies and shows. Wow. What a person. So yeah, I don't have much hope anything here changes. Not that the movement isn't justified. Oh shit, okay, doubling down. Given everything that's happened, but any actual result seems effectively impossible. Well, thanks, Paul Tassi. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you make another article so I can break that shit down and expose more of your lies and more of your defamatory remarks and slander. Have a great day. And anyone else who thinks that having a voice and having an opinion has to be on the same lines as every other human being. And I'm here to say that I think it is totally acceptable, as long as you were respectful, to dismantle whatever form of media or art that you wish. Why didn't you like it? Why did you think it was shit? Why didn't it resonate with you? At the end of the day, art is created to evoke some sort of emotion from the viewer. And that is subjective. If it made you feel a certain way, type of way, why? And I believe in my YouTube videos, I very respectfully and eloquently discuss that, I would say for the most part. So, hey, keep conversing out there. Keep talking about what you like and what you don't like. Don't feed into this toxic positivity bullshit. Humans were made to judge things. We are given brains to have a preference about different things. Don't be racist. Don't hurt anybody. Don't be disrespectful. But if you didn't like a piece of art, you are more than entitled to your opinions. And that's all I have to say about this. Hope you guys have a great day. Be respectful out there. Be good. And always talk your shit. Love you guys. May the force be with you.
Good stuff right there from Star Wars Theory. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, dude, look, the bottom line is that Paul Tassi is overstepping big time. We have actual evidence to show that he is lying. He is straight up lying about all of this. And we can prove that. And we will continue to prove it in our videos. I mean, I'm currently traveling right now, so I don't have everything here in front of me, but I'm going to put some clips in this video to show actual evidence, like I've already done multiple times. And I also appreciate all the other channels that are out here covering this, and they show a lot of those clips of the things that I have said about some of these actors in the past, showing that these are absolute lies. What they are saying about me, what they are saying about other content creators are lies. And this is what YouTube looked into. YouTube looked into it, and they saw, hey, wait, these guys always separate the art from the artist when they're talking about shows or movies or whatever. Now, again, are there times where many of us will talk about the actor because the actor said something on their personal social media, or maybe they attacked fans and we respond from that perspective? Absolutely. But at no point in time have any of us ever said, well, this person played a role that I don't like, therefore we just have to harass them. That has not happened, and you can't find any evidence of that whatsoever. It's absolutely insane to say that. So I'm glad Theory is tackling this topic. It's going to continue to come up. It's going to continue to be a problem. They're not going to let this go. I'm glad that YouTube looked into it. I think that the people that are getting involved in this need to understand, and I'm talking to these people right now. You are actively violating YouTube terms of service. You are doing it to the letter of the law. I don't want to see your channels get taken away. I don't think that I think everybody should have a voice. I do. But you cannot go on these coordinated campaigns and expect to get away with that forever. You can't do it. I'm telling you, I'm pleading with you. You need to chill, because you are violating terms of service by this behavior. And that's not just a YouTube thing. Like, that's even for Twitter and, of course, Facebook and Instagram and all that. Like, all of these things violate those terms of service for even those platforms. It's not a good look. You don't recover from these things. So you might as well just stop now and cut your losses and stop the bleeding and just go ahead and try to move forward. That's the best thing you can do. But we're going to continue to criticize art, because that is what it's here for, to criticize and to compliment as you see it. There is no one common theme among me or anybody I'm hanging out with. Sometimes I disagree with my friends. Sometimes I agree with my friends. Sometimes we have a back and forth and discuss it, because that's how things are. And I've talked about it many times about this whole nonsense about, these guys are intimidated by diversity and all of that. It's absolutely insane. Why didn't you talk about the Shaft 2 film with Samuel L. Jackson a few years ago, the one that all the critics hated and the ones that all the fans liked? That's right. It's got a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the critics hated it. It's an all-black film, a black director, and I don't know if there's a white person in it, and I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. When I was growing up, watching movies like Boys in the Hood or Juice or Above the Rim or things like that. I don't remember white people being in these movies because I didn't care. I don't care about these things. I care about good movies, authentic movies with good performances and good shows. That's all I care about. None of this other stuff matters to me. When I praised the movie Black Panther, I gave it an 8 out of 10. After it's on this Geese Gamers channel, you can go look it up right now. I gave Black Panther an 8 out of 10. I said that it had a token white guy in it and it was unnecessary. We didn't need a white person in this movie just for the sake of having a white person in it. I said that. Go look it up. But of course, if I said that in the reverse, oh boy, he's this, he's that. But you don't want to bring up these comments that I've said that completely destroy your narrative, do you? No, you don't. And that's the reality of the situation. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Shout out to Star Wars Theory. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.